Hey, I'm Al Cavadlo. I started training American Jiu-Jitsu last April at the age of 43. Now, I'd done some traditional gi Jiu-Jitsu back in my early 20s and even had a few stripes on my white belt at that time, but that was so long ago that I was pretty much starting over as a complete beginner when I got back into it at 43. Now, fortunately, I've been working out for most of my life, so I was starting from a pretty good place in terms of my strength, stamina, and mobility. And yet, in spite of having so many things in my favor, I still made a lot of beginner mistakes and managed to get injured early on. In hindsight, I was just too eager and didn't give my body enough rest. I jumped right in, going to 3 or 4 jiu-jitsu classes per week, and I was still strength training 3 or 4 times per week as well. So after about a month or so of that, I started to get this lingering discomfort in and around my shoulders. But I figured it was just my body adapting and I needed to push through, and eventually it would sort itself out. Turns out I was wrong. And after a couple more weeks, that discomfort turned into full-blown pain so bad that I had to take a break from jiu-jitsu. Even basic strength training became impossible for a little while. The only upper body exercise I was able to do at that time that wasn't painful was hanging from a pull-up bar. So I did that as often as I reasonably could and continued working my legs and core in the meantime. It was right around this time that I became aware of rope flow, and that did a lot to help my shoulder. Because the rope is just heavy enough that swinging it around got the blood flowing to my shoulders, but still light enough that I could do it without causing pain. After a couple of months of that, I was finally ready to go back to doing pull-ups, dips, and other upper body exercises without pain. But I was still too cautious to go back to jiu-jitsu. However, the school I was training at had added a kickboxing program that summer. So I figured I'm gonna try that because I missed the roughhousing, and I thought there's less a chance of hurting myself in a discipline that doesn't include things like arm bars and kimuras. So after a little while of kickboxing, I was finally ready to get back to jiu-jitsu. Interestingly enough, that little bit of kickboxing had a lot of carryover into my jiu-jitsu training. I guess it just made me more comfortable being uncomfortable, which is key for jiu-jitsu. Currently, I'm only strength training a couple times per week and going to jiu-jitsu 2 or 3 times per week too. I'm still keeping up with the kickboxing once a week as well. My strength training is basically just in maintenance mode right now. All I'm looking to do in those workouts is get a pump and maintain my health, strength, and mobility as I approach my 45th birthday this summer. I mean, you can only get better at so many things at once, and right now, jiu-jitsu is a higher priority. As far as structuring my training schedule, my only big rule is I do not do strength training on the same day that I train jiu-jitsu or kickboxing. And I've actually reduced the amount of volume in my strength training workouts because I don't want to get sore from them. Now, a few people have asked me if I thought about entering a jiu-jitsu competition. I have no plans to compete in the foreseeable future. The last thing I want to do is get hurt again, and sometimes competing is about winning at all costs. So I'm not going to take my chances. I want to keep doing this for a long time to come, and I don't need to prove anything to anybody except myself. And all I want to prove to myself is that I can keep showing up and making progress. It's fine if I continue to be a white belt for a long time to come. And one day, if I do get to that blue belt, I hope I don't lose the beginner's mind. If you found this helpful, give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment. And don't forget to subscribe. As always, I'm Al Cavadlo, and we're working out.